give you a little demo on how I do these watch bands. So here's one of the molds. There's the opposite side. I use 3 30-seconds rivets to for the hole for the watch pins. So that goes in here, and then when I pour the rubber, it just goes over that and creates the hole through, and I pull this out when it cures and then peel it out. So I'll show you how that works. So first we put part B. Since part B is darker, go with part B, which is the rubber, and then part A is the hardener. The more hardener you put in, the faster it cures, the harder it gets, but the more brittle it becomes, so you need to mix them as close as possible. So I have 8 grams of part B in here. So then I'll add 1 drop of black pigment. And this stuff is thick, so it kind of takes a minute for it to drip out. And once you add that in, you need to make sure that it is thoroughly mixed. If this stuff is not mixed completely through, what will happen is when you pour, or when you add part, or the opposite part into here, which is part A, if the pigment is not mixed in completely to part B, then when you add part A into this and you mix it all up, you still have like tracers of black pigment that haven't been mixed into the rubber. So when it cures around that little bit of unmixed resin pigment. And then when you pour your mold and it cures, when you peel it out, you'll have pieces like little strains. It looks like veins of uncured pigment resin. So then it leaves craters in it. So when they tell you to mix your stuff thoroughly, they mean it, because you'll screw your shit up and you'll waste your product. Okay, so now that that's mixed in, put that back on. We zero this out, add part A, 8 grams. So it totals about 16 grams. And then there's going to be some left over, because this stuff, once you start to mix it from this point right here, you have to keep this stuff moving, otherwise it cures. It has a 4-minute work time, and that 4 minutes includes the stirring process. So you want to, stir X amount of times one way, same amount of times the other way, scrape the edges. Make sure you mix everything up really, really good. Once you notice that this stuff starts to feel like pancake batter, you know it's mixed thoroughly and it's time to pour it. And I've got both bands, 16 grams will do both. I start up by where the pin goes, that way it can go around the rivet and get into all the crevices up top. So I do that to both of them, and then I pour down the band and stop pouring about 7/8 of the way down so that it can level out. And I'll help it level out by tilting it. It'll run down, even itself out. Air bubbles will start to come out. And once you notice that the actual mold is completely filled, then you can go back and tilt it the opposite way to level it out. Once you level it out, you can get down eye level get down eye level with it to see if you need to add some. So it looks like we need to add, see this stuff starts getting real thick. We can add a drop up top there. Actually, we can add just a little bit there. And this side needs maybe a drop right there. We'll add that one too. There we go. Now that you have it leveled out, you take a little handheld torch, kill all the air bubbles. It helps it even itself out, kills all the air bubbles in the mold up by the where the pin goes. You don't want any air bubbles up there. If you have air bubbles where that pin goes, you get pockets and it creates weak spots. So the band most likely will break, or it comes out with gaps and you gotta throw it out. So now that that's done, they sit for about 20 to 30 minutes, and then I'll demold them. They come out looking like this. It's got a waxy film on it because of the mold release. These will stiffen up given a couple hours. They'll be fully cured. This little tab down here is for peeling the molds out. They come out perfect every time.